G'day, Steve Morgan, ABT and Fishing Media with another Tackle Fridays. Started filming this pretty late this afternoon. It's nearly dark outside because I've been out filming all day. I was out on the Tweed River today doing some super secret squirrel filming for some products that are going to be released at the AFTA trade show this year. Been doing a little bit of work for that over the last few weeks. A lot of companies now are gearing all of their new releases, all released at AFTA, happy in the AFTA. So there's a bit of stuff that I probably can't tell you about, but it would all become evident in due course when companies release these products. If you don't know about AFTA, it's the Australian Fishing Trade Association trade show. It happens in July this year. You go to the website or to the Facebook page, you will see there is a day for the public. It's a Saturday. The date I will put down the bottom right here right now because I don't remember it straight off. But you can go for free. Well, after maybe paying $12 to pay to park underneath or 50-cent public transport to get there. And you can see all of the stuff that the tackle stores see. You can't buy anything, but that's cool because there is so much stuff to actually see. It will knock your socks off if you are a tackle junkie like me. So that's what I've been doing today, but let me show you what has been happening in the office during the week that I can show you. Let's start with this. Where have I been shopping? I read my EDM from Mo Tackle, good ABT retail sponsor, during the week. They had a Swim Bait Madness sale on. So I go, all right, let's see what we got in there. And they had some of these. These are some of the Jointed Claw 70s, the smallest jointed swim bait that Gandcraft make. And there they are right there. And I've always wanted to try these for both brim and bass, maybe on BFS, maybe on spin rods. But I never wanted to pay 50 or 70 bucks or whatever the ridiculous price is for a swim bait that's so small. Even though it probably takes just as much effort to make a small one as a big one, there's something wrong about paying top dollar for a brim size lure. So these were on special for 29 bucks. I gave Cameron Hall a call down there and he sorted me out. So there we go. We got some little sinking Gandcrafts. I like the fluorescent on the top because that means I can see them from underneath their standard colours. They should glide nicely. Unsure if the brim or the bass will eat them, but over this summer, I'm sure I will come back to you with some of the results from these. So I bought 4 of these. I said, Cam, better give us some good colours. He gave us 2 of the silver sides with the fluorescent backs. One was yellow, one was orange. And then he also gave me a couple of more natural colours, and that's those ones there. So thanks for sorting that out for me, Cam. Paid full special price like anyone else would, and I'll be giving those suckers a go. What else has happened? I was mucking around in the tackle room and I found an Alabama rig. And I've always wanted to put these, that's the atomic, the white baits, the 75 white baits, on an A-rig. And if you don't know what an Alabama rig is, this is what they are. They're a wire frame that holds usually 5 soft plastic baits on them. I'll show you how they swim. There's a cutaway here with some real amateur iPhone video of me taking the Rapala test tank of how these guys swim. Look pretty good, to be honest, and I've fished them a lot in the past. You can't buy the frames very many places locally. I normally pick them up in specials bins when I'm overseas for $5 or $10 or something like that. And in Queensland, 5 hooks like this is legal in saltwater, but it's not legal in freshwater. If I want to go and fish this up at Somerset, I have to actually cut hooks off 4 of the 5 baits and only have hooks on one of them. I did have my discussions, it's not an argument, it's a discussion with Queensland Fisheries about that, but they consider this is 5 lures, not 1 lure, and you're only allowed to use 1 lure at a time. In New South Wales, I think you can use 2 lures at a time, so maybe 2 hooks in New South Wales. But how good does this sucker look in the water? I have caught dew, threadies, flathead, lots of predatory fish on A-rigs here before, mostly at night time, mostly in the Brizzy River. And the whole secret to A-rigs is you've got to have actually quite light baits on there. If you put like 1 ounce heads, this thing ends up being so heavy you can hardly cast it. So those little white bait 75s look pretty amazing on there, I think. And I shall be giving this a go over the next couple of months, in the colder months when those dewies are up the river. Let's give them a crack on that A-rig. Let me tell you as well, Impoundment Barra love A-rigs as well. They don't hook up real well with only 1 hook on them, but I've had sessions where I've thrown everything, thrown the book at them, then thrown an A-rig in and bang, first cast, it triggers them. So there's something about it. They don't come up and just try to eat 1 lure. They normally come and just try to eat the whole thing at once, and they end up getting sort of bondaged by it. They'll have 1 hook in the mouth and 1 in the back of their neck and 1 in the under the gills, and they sort of tie themselves up in a ball. But hey, that's pretty cool. So that's an Alabama rig or an A rig. Incidentally, this rig is banned in Bassmaster competition. Don't know why, too effective maybe. Takes away from the spirit of fishing, but totally legal if you have the right number of hooks and lures on in various places in Australia. Next, I was out the back at Rapala and I was looking for, in their samples department, I was looking for a rod that I could use for throwing baits like this. We're coming up to the Queensland Bass Rounds, and something like the DT20, something that a lot of guys will long line, and me, I am way too lazy to long line. Long lining is when you put your lure in the water, your electric motor 100 metres away, letting line out, then you stop your boat, and then you crank and wind that lure all the way in. And it gets down super deep, it grubs along the bottom in maybe 20 to 30 feet of water, and it's a great technique for big bass. But I'm lazy, I just want to throw this thing a mile, have 9.5 foot of rod, and this one here is 9 foot 6, 2.9 metres. I want to have 9.5 foot of rod to put that half under the water to give this thing a head start. So I've got it on one of my 13 reels here. It's a 9 foot 6 proper double-handed rod, so I can get into it and throw it. It's a funny action. On the thing here it says MLH. Is that medium, light, heavy? I don't know. They maybe not know what it is, but it does seem it's a fairly progressive taper. Hopefully I can throw this thing 50 or 60 metres with this and get it down and just do it all via cranking. It's a 13 Fishing Omen rod. Their samples department is usually full of stuff that they haven't sold or they haven't brought in. So you probably won't see these on the shelves, and if I break it, there ain't no warranty on it because it's probably the only one in the country. But I'm going to take that up, and when I have normally my patience goes to 3 long lining casts. I might have 5 casts with this one. I might have a lot more patience when it comes to that technique when bass comes on. The next events that are actually happening are firstly the Samaki Brim Queensland Open. That's on next weekend. We've got nearly 20 anglers signed up for that at the moment. High prestige, 2-day event, Moreton Bay, Gold Coast, should be covered really well. And Nicole has got a bit of a special surprise. We've got a couple of guest commentators there to have a really cool live show on the day 2 of that event. But after that, after, we've actually got the 2 Queensland Bass Rounds. And it's pretty interesting because all of the Australian bass team are going to be over in South Africa while that's on. And that's guys like Mick Johnson, Matty Langford, Tommy Wood, Braden Shue. All those sort of guys aren't going to be there for those events. And guys like me, each one of those guys not it. That's one more place I'm going to be up the leaderboard. So if you ever wanted to go and have a good chance of doing well at an ABT Bass event, maybe the Somerset Wivenhoe Tour is going to be for you. Guys like Benny Hay will be coming up trying to seal an Angler of the Year title. He'll need like a top 6 or a top 7 to do that. But I've even worked out mathematically, if I have 2 really good results, I could win Bass Angler of the Year. And if that happens, I know Matty Langford would say, oh, default, we weren't there, but I don't care. AOY trophy's an AOY trophy, so I might even pre-fish for these events. Maybe not, maybe I will. Otherwise, in the background, we are still working on the Trade magazine. It's a magazine you probably won't see unless you're in the fishing trade. It's from the retailers to the tackle stores, a business-to-business magazine. And I reckon between Nicole and I, we've talked to every single wholesaler in the tackle industry in the last couple of weeks. So that's coming together nicely. It'll be printed and off before the After Trade show. That's about it for Tackle Fridays. Secret stuff I can't tell you about. Secret stuff I can tell you about. Specials at Mo Tackle. And a secret little A-rig. I'll let you know if this thing catches any fish.